Itankarji to make his introduction. We all know who he is and what he is. I think, we'll ask him the questions during the panel. To set the perspective, we are talking of GCC. I see a lot of young people. What is a GCC? Because it's such a big word and everybody keeps talking GCC. Somebody came to me this morning and said, sir, what is GCC? ये global capability center क्या होता है? I walk in, I was having a tea and somebody came in and said, sir, ये global capacity center क्या होता है? I was sitting with another person and he came back and said, sir, ये global competency center क्या होता है? Unfortunately, fortunately, everything is GCC. To set the perspective for GCC, the GCC story, and why is this becoming such a big vision for India, I would now like to invite you to, bring in your keynote and your slides.
Cool. Thanks Ajay. And the problem with inviting consultants to events like this is there's always a PowerPoint. So my apologies, there are only 2 slides that I have. But so just a show of hands, how many people here know what a GCC is? Okay, so maybe I'll spend like literally 15 seconds. Think of a bank in the US, right? A bank has a lot of back office processes, right? There's operations, reconciliations, there's technology. The best way to do that is to get it done from India, right? It offers cost, it offers productivity. Now, either they can do that by outsourcing it to the likes of an Infosys, a TCS, a Wipro, etc., or they can set up their own center in India. And that office, the mid or back office, is called a Global Capability Center, or a GCC. Now, why is GCC such an important topic? Why are we talking about this? In fact, Honorable Finance Minister spoke about GCC in the previous budget. The first time the word GCC was taken in the budget of India. And if you look at this chart here, it gives you the story of how it's grown, right? We're talking about 2,500 individual GCC centers in India. And these are all centers with thousands of people. Now think about the employment this generates. In fact, 2.5 million people are expected to work out GCCs in India. It's going to have an impact of $120 billion on our economy. Just in terms of taxes, right? GCCs by definition had to be profit generating. They can't be lost. While the parent organization, the bank in the US might be generating losses, in India they have to make a 10 to 15% profit, and they have to pay tax on that. Obviously these are high paying jobs relatively. The personal taxes that come out of there, the overall impact that a GCC center makes to the economy is tremendous. GCCs also make a huge amount of investments in building human capital. Most of the GCCs are involved either with academia or they run their own training centers. The next wave of AI ML is going to come out of the leadership which comes from these GCCs. The amount of investment GCCs are making in terms of innovation, most of the large GCCs now have incubation centers. If you look at the Barclays Center in Pune or the Target Center in Bangalore, they have huge incubation centers. They incubate startups, they fund these startups, they ramp them up, and if needed, they then absorb them within the organization. So again, tremendous amount of value which comes out of it. And obviously the CSR spending, right? They all, like I mentioned, they all generate 15% profits, and they all invest in CSR, some of the largest programs, whether it's in sports, in nutrition, in education, all of that is being invested in by GCC. So overall, it's a tremendous impact that these organizations are making. Which brings us to the second question. So why Nagpur? And while I was thinking about it, when we sit with our clients and think through where in India should they set up this center, there are 3 factors which traditionally they speak about, right? One is cost of operations, and it's a no-brainer. A city like Nagpur has much lower cost of operations than a Bangalore or a Pune or a Delhi. But there's always a pushback which also comes, okay, we'll get some savings in real estate, some savings in manpower. How much is it going to cost us to get the senior leadership? And that's a challenge that Ajay and I were also speaking about earlier. How do we make Nagpur more attractive for senior leadership so these organizations don't spend that much? In terms of talent availability, right? We all know Nagpur has a tremendous ecosystem in terms of educational institutes, but when it comes to the next gen technologies, respected Ashish Shelarji spoke about AI, ML, and the policy that the government of Maharashtra is going to come up with. How do we ensure that when a GCC is being set up in Nagpur, it is future ready in terms of these kind of talents, right? Infrastructure, phenomenal infrastructure, phenomenal amount of effort made by the government, but that needs to be backed up with private infrastructure. A GCC wants to open up a 2,000-seater center in Nagpur. They are looking for at least a building with 50,000 square feet floor plate. How many options do we have of such buildings in Nagpur, right? Similarly, availability of 5-star hotels, because a lot of foreign dignitaries come visit these GCCs, work with them. A lot of expats will need to come work in that. How expat friendly is Nagpur going to be? So those are some of the things which clients think about. But in terms of 3 factors which are now gaining importance, right? The first one is government support, right? The government of UP has come up with a specific GCC policy, and that's why it was really heartening to hear Mr. Shelar talk about the ITS policy. My request, sir, would be maybe there could be a component of GCC in that, because they have come up with very specific GCC-related incentives in UP, right? Similarly, the startup ecosystem, right? What kind of investments are we going to make in that? And last but not the least is the question of the sponsorship within these organizations.
We are really glad and honored that Honorable Nitin Ji Gadkari has joined this session. Please give him a huge round of applause. I welcome Mr. Kapoor to present Honorable Nitin Gadkari Ji with a sapling and welcome him on this dais. So should we continue with the presentation?
No, I think.
Okay.
So we'll request you to speak. I know that you will be moving out. So
All right.
I request Gadkari ji to talk to us, and then we'll continue with the panel discussion.
Our Minister Ashish Shelar, all respectable dignitaries and dear friends. India is the fastest growing economy in the world, and the dream of our Prime Minister to make Indian economy of $5 trillion. At the same time, the mission for all of us given by the Prime Minister to make India the 3rd largest economy in the world. We are the country where we have maximum engineering trained manpower, young talented manpower available in the country. The name of the country is India. And it is to be a great thing for the country that our IT engineers are doing miracles in the world. They are well recognized, and that is the reason today this industry has got tremendous potential. Regarding Vidarbha, we have already the Mihan project is one of the important projects. Actually, the project was visualized on the basis of the 380 flights from Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, China, going to European countries, and they have to take for 16 hours complete fuel. So the idea, one of the consultants given to me, that if they can take only half of the fuel, then they can increase the volume of the goods. On the basis of that, the project is at that time, it was planned International Air Cargo Hub. Then it again expanded to International Air Cargo and Passenger Hub. And land is acquired. After that, the new idea, which was the vision behind the project, is to establish the industry, trade, business, and particularly IT industries in that area. Today we have got all players available. The big company like TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, SCL, and they are doing really good job. They are expanding their industry. And the most important strength is we have 53 engineering colleges across the Nagpur city. And the people from the IT industry, they are reporting me that these engineering trained young people prove to be best. And that is the reason that today there is a huge potential for that. At the same time, we have already the Symbiosis University is here, Nursing Mungji is here, IIM is here, IIM is world-class IIM, and today our managing director of MIHAN is present, already is present here. Now the idea is, we are now also in the process of making expansion of MIHAN. So the land is available, the quality life is good. It will not be appropriate only that I should talk about Nagpur, but as compared with the other metro city, I don't take the name, the Nagpur is ecology and environment point of view very, very good. No problem for air pollution, water pollution, and sound pollution and traffic jam. In some of the cities, the people are facing a lot of problem related with the traffic jam. And the quality life is here. This is a green city, 0 mile. Now we are in the process of making 2 big railway stations in Nagpur. We are already have international airport, the work has already started. And Nagpur is 0 mile. And Nagpur is known as Tiger Capital. From the 3.5 hour, we have 350 tigers. So the IT people, they can enjoy in Tadoba, then Painch and Umred. So it is to be, we are now developing new Ambora. There we have a cable stayed bridge. We have a world standard musical fountain and good gardens and even the sport grounds. And that is the reason that the quality of life is very good in Nagpur. I am really happy that majority of IT people, they want to launch their new project in Nagpur. Regarding MIHAN, we have the TAL from Tata. They are making 1200 parts of Boeing and Airbus. At the same time, the Rafale, the Dassault is here, the fighter jet rifle, they are making here. And now they promise me that they will make the Falcon, 11-seater and 13-seater, before, the promise was before 22 end. They will start the commercial production here, but they are in the process. Next year, we are expecting they will start the manufacturing of Falcon here in Nagpur. And the most important thing is just 8 days before, I got appointed to discuss with the Boeing people. Now we have 2 MRO. One MRO is from Air India and other MRO is from Indigo. MRO from Praful Patel. That company is also very good. Endeavor. And Indigo has now presently, this is facility they are using maximum. But now Boeing is going to start the conversion of passenger flight into good flights. And they are going to start this project in Nagpur. We have aviation engineering also, lot of trained people are available. So it is really a very good destiny for IT because the engineering trained young talented manpower is available here and that is the potential of the Nagpur. So I'm really happy that majority of you people who are here who want to start their project in Nagpur. Now our managing director is also a collector and is very dynamic. The most important thing in the government is fast track decision making process and transparency. So I am confident that with the new MD, he will take decision fast and transparently. So this is to be a good opportunity for investment in IT industry. Already my friend Ashish Shelar, who is the Minister for IT, is here. The government support is there. So I will request all of you that think about Nagpur. It is a win-win situation for both. As a Nagpur, we are insisting for development, for increasing growth rate and creating employment potential. That is to be a mission for all of us. The Devendraji Fadnavis, Chief Minister, is also from Nagpur. I am also the Member of Parliament from Nagpur. We are both very seriously pursuing all problems and issues related with the development of Nagpur and Vidarbha. So my suggestion to all of you, think about Nagpur. You are welcome in Nagpur, we will support you. And whatever the problems, we will resolve. For that reason, you are welcome and your presence in this seminar is going to give good strength to the people who are doing a mission for development of Vidarbha. It is to be a very remarkable, good thing for all of us and pleasure and pride. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Nitin Gadkari ji, a true trailblazer. The one with his vision and tireless effort can facilitate reverse migration from tier 1 cities to Nagpur. One and only Nitin Gadkari ji. So once again, I request Mr. Mathur to continue with his presentation.
I know. Yeah. It is always reassuring when you hear from Gadkari ji, Fadnavis ji, Ashish ji. I'm sure, we are in secure hands. Interestingly, जब छोटे होते थे तो एक डायलॉग था, मेरे पास बंगला है, गाड़ी है, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? It's a famous dialogue. So when people from Bangalore tell us हमारे पास Google है, हमारे पास Microsoft है, I'm sure we can feel proud. हमारे पास गडकरी जी हैं, हमारे पास देवेंद्र जी हैं, आशीष जी हैं, इटंकर जी हैं. I know we are running a little late. I will quickly give you 1 more minute to complete your slide, and then we'll have to run to questions.
Actually, I just had one more point, so I won't even take the whole minute. So we were talking about, the decision making, what are these organizations thinking when they're selecting a location. And the last very important point which comes in everybody's mind is, okay, I'm going to go set this center up in Nagpur. Who do I trust who will set this up and lead it? And the big advantage that places like Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune have is there's always somebody from these cities in a senior management role who would raise his hands and say, you know what, pay me an expat salary, I'll go to India, I'll go to my hometown, I will set this center up, I will get a local golf course membership, I'll have my kids in the local school, etc., but I'll set this up for you. Now we really need to figure out a way to reach out to our expats, folks from Nagpur in these multinational organizations, because them raising their hands saying, I will sponsor this, I will set this up for you, is going to be a very important part in the whole decision-making process. So those are some of the things which typically our clients think of while selecting a location. Over to you, Ajay, if you have any questions on that.
Thank you. We'll just let it be there. We'll just let it be there, sir. My question to you, Manu. What lessons can be learned from established GCC hubs like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Delhi? And what is it that Nagpur should be emulating, or what is it that Nagpur should be doing different to be attractive?
Okay, thanks, Ajay. Very valid question. But let me take it this way. We have such a young population here, a lot of students. And probably when I talk to my team, I say that every 5 years in profession, there is a new generation, right? So somebody who is 5 years younger to me, he's from or she's from a different generation. So what has happened is, if I say there are people with 5th, 3rd or 4th generation professionally with me, you have so much of learning. You have AI, you have different ways to look into, you have so much knowledge available. And that's the case where we are in Nagpur today. We have the best of the cases available, and we have a unique opportunity to pick the best. Let's say we have one case where somebody has looked into and provided, okay, we will provide infrastructure. I'm taking a city case. They said, GCCs, please come over, we'll provide you the infrastructure at a particular land, right? So that's attract people, great. Another city said, or government said that we will make your policies so lucrative, right? We will give you tax benefit, we will give you lease benefits, come over, establish it. Pay us after some years, right? So that's the second part of it. Third city, and these are the live examples, third city says, you know what, we have government, academia, and the industry partnership. Come over, you will be very successful. The fourth one is somebody says, okay, you know what, we'll specialize in a particular area. Let me take an example of financial industry. All financial people, you come over in my city, my hub, GCC, set it up, and you will get unique. All four are possible in Nagpur today. Right? This was not possible in every one of them. Somebody has so much of traffic, somebody has lack of time available or people coming in and all. But this is where we are available, and this is the right time, Ajay ji, where outside industry is looking for tier 2 cities. I'm not calling Nagpur as a tier 2 cities. In terms of GCCs, the next generation cities, which is Nagpur. So this is the time for us to be there, taking those advantage. And whatever time I have spent, this is the first time for me, in last 24 hours, I've seen government big time push, very serious about it. Sir is here, and we've been talking about, he's very passionate, Minister sir, they all mentioned. Industry is very keen, academia is involved. So I think up to time ki deri nahi hai, bas jaldi se karna hi hai.
Thank you, really appreciate. Amit, I'll quickly ask you a question. I know that you've been handling GCC work for some of your clients. What's been your experience? How do you think you have been able to deliver? What are your clients saying?
Yeah. So as we were discussing in the past, right, Nagpur being an education hub, there is no dearth of talent. We are a super talent hub. But when it comes to GCC, it's a bit different compared to typical IT services, right? You need a little bit senior talent. And beyond technology, you need a talent that has a mindset of a growth, who can understand cross-cultural aspect, who can also, instead of having a mindset of you being told to do something, have a mindset of you driving it from the front. So those were some of the things that we realized. And based on that, we created our own playbook. We have our own learning academy for upskilling, cross-skilling. And obviously in Nagpur, as we all know, right, it is growing. We are having close to 100,000 people on technology. But on senior talent, we still feel a shortage, right? If I had to ramp up some senior team in 30 days, probably I may not be able to do. So we were struggling a bit there, so we leveraged our academy. Then we leveraged our Academia Connect to reach out to the academia alumni who are senior people in different geographies, in different cities in India. Our own alumni network, the people who moved out of our place and moved to the big cities. And I think now things are getting in place, and as the ecosystem is evolving, there are more options, right? Somebody senior who wants to move to Nagpur, he would always feel whether his spouse has a job, whether his kids are going to have a good schools. So now that ecosystem is coming together, so we are getting in a better shape. One challenge, because Bipin sir is here, how we can have more plug and play infrastructure in Mihan. When we wanted to expand within Mihan, there is no plug and play infrastructure other than one building. Right? And GCCs won't create their own infrastructure, right? They would prefer you are having a ready infrastructure within SEZ that you can move. So these are some of the learnings. But one thing common across all IT companies I observed, once the customer lands in Nagpur, the amount of commitment and the competency our team has, it would always be a long-lasting customer. So whatever customers we hosted, we are still running them and growing globally.
Fantastic to hear, Amit.
Thank you. Last point. Sorry, I just realized because it is most important, we have to enable a lot of travel in the beginning. So people can really visit customer, understand the cultural aspect beyond technology, and that really helps bridge the gap between, so that there is a better alignment in terms of goals and vision.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much. Shailesh, quickly, over to you. I know, you have worked outside Nagpur in metros, overseas. and you decided to come back and be, the head for HCL. What has been your experience? What really inspired you to come back? And my second question to you in the same breath is, you've been hosting a lot of global clients. What has been your experience in delivery from here vis-a-vis, other places?
Well, to answer your first question, why did I come back? Nagpur is my birthplace. And in fact, as an organization, we launched a campaign called Come Back Home. As someone was saying, right, a lot of expats are outside of Nagpur. I think, it's a time for, everyone to come back. So probably I thought I should be a brand ambassador, lead from the front. But yeah, I mean, that's one, reason that, I'm here. As far as, the delivery is concerned, we all are supporting global customers from Mihan, being an SEZ. And as I was saying earlier also, most of them are also having their global capability centers in metro cities. And I have seen that, I mean, all the customers who have visited Nagpur, not even a single customer would have come back and complained that it's a small city, the infrastructure is not good, the talent, quality is not appropriate. I think in all sense, if you look at it, the city has demonstrated very well in front of all the multinational customers who have visited Nagpur and who have experienced the delivery from the center. So having said that, I think, there are two key aspects I just wanted to conclude with. If it just come to GCC, one is the build part, right? Where the new GCCs are coming and setting up. Already, a lot of companies have done, the build part, the design part, acquired the land, set up the campuses, the kind of like compliances that are required to have, the setup, and then the talent acquisition and the delivery. There is the second part of it, which is the optimization part, that the GCCs which are present in metros, now they want to probably expand to tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities. So I think it's a very well poised location, as we all are agreeing. It's just a time that, it has to kind of start somewhere. But all in all, I think it's been a great experience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shailesh. That was very well explained. Sir, I'm sure, everybody wants to hear from you, and I'm sure everybody wants to talk about Mihan and, what is it that you really have as a game plan? What is it that, we should be expecting? And what can be done to attract, these global capability centers to Mihan?
First of all, I express my thanks to Gadkari sir and all the team of Advantage Vidarbha. Yes. It was a great opportunity because last year I could not make it here. Yes. We are so busy in our routine work. So today I will be talking not as a collector. I have kept my collector at my office. Today I am talking as a joint MD of MADC. And when Gadkari sir was talking, our government of the day, be it central government or state government, they are very aggressive in bringing the investment. Currently, my fellow panelists might know, in Davos, we have signed MOU worth 15 lakh crore. From that, in Vidarbha only, we have signed about 5.5 lakh worth of MOU. And that MOU, particularly, were connected to MIDC and Mihan. To talk with Mihan, I purposefully asked that this slide is very relevant. Because ये तीनों जो मुझे दिख रहा है, when you talk about cost of operations, I bet I took charge 1-2 months before. When I analyzed it, we have got two areas. We have got SEZ, we have got non-SEZ area in Mihan. And our government of the day, Honorable CM, Gadkari sir, they believe in the delegative administration, delegative legislature. They want कि यहाँ की फाइल मुंबई क्यों जाना चाहिए? When हम यहाँ पे इतना बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है मिहान के डिसीजन यही पे होना चाहिए. ठीक है, जो पॉलिसी डिसीजंस होंगे that we can send it to मंत्रालय and we can get it done. So the cost of operations, if you compare to tier 1 cities like Bangalore, Bengaluru, Mumbai, Pune, I bet it is 15 to 20% less. If you add the remittances and the benefits in the SEZ area, if you add that, it will reach to 30-35%. Like I have bring some notes in SEZ area, we are giving multiple remittances. Like we have got exemption in GST, stamp duty, custom and excise. We are giving exemption from state tax and other levies as extended by government. Then economic laws are more liberal. Net foreign exchange earning condition to be achieved in 5 years. I don't think this is available in Bangalore and Mumbai. And lastly, there is no minimum export obligation. So we are talking about GCCs. If that GCC wants to set a export-oriented unit, then you can go for SEZ area. If you want to keep it for local non-export oriented, then you can establish in non-SEZ area. So we have got basket of opportunities in Mihan. Second, when you are talking about talent availability, I am in Nagpur for the last 2.5 years and I have many friends in IT industry. उनका ये बोलना है कि सर मुंबई पुणे में हम काम कर रहे हैं बट हमारा सेविंग नहीं होता है. यहाँ पे हम आएंगे सैलरी कम होगी, ठीक है, यू आर सेइंग कि 10 to 15% लेस सैलरी, बट खर्चे भी यहाँ कम हैं. When it comes to infrastructure, I hope आप सभी एयरपोर्ट से आए होंगे. You have seen the state of art metro, your Samruddhi, and the greatest advantage. Initially it was disadvantage, but now we can convert it into advantage. Like initially people used to say कि नागपुर landlocked है, but it is advantageous from you क्योंकि तमिलनाडु के बच्चे के लिए भी नागपुर उतना ही है. In you can reach any tier 1 city within 1.5 hours from Nagpur. Nagpur is connected to every tier 1 city. Then now Honorable PM has inaugurated new airport that MIL has. I am also holding charge of MIL. So MIL has undergone an concession agreement with GMR and they are starting the work for new airport. So second runway is also coming up. So, and if you see the structure of Mihan, it is a hub for aeronautical industry. Already Gadkari sir has already told you that Rafale and all production is going on. Then we have huge MRO industry. 2 big MRO already are there and few market leaders also investing, like Indigo is also interested in setting up an MRO. So, and third, I think all the 3 boxes are ticked. So the before starting of the session, we are discussing that the only missing dot is the communication. Either you are not able to reach us or we are somewhere failing in reaching to the industry. So on this platform, I am telling you, we are welcoming with open heart, open hands. आपको जो भी लगता है, I will assure कि within 7 to 10 days we will take a decision. आपको land चाहिए, and see the beauty of the law कि in SEZ area, MD and joint MD can sanction 5 acre of land directly. And my fellow panelists has said that they will not construct, they want someone to construct the center and then you will come. So my say is that कि we all should come together. It should be collaborative. तुम पहले करो फिर हम करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं एक साथ हम करेंगे. So, क्योंकि our honorable Prime Minister's vision is to make India Viksit Bharat, and for that we want to reach a 5 trillion economy. And our honorable CM has told कि उस 5 trillion में से 1 trillion economy महाराष्ट्र को हमको बनाना है. So I think without Mihan and without Nagpur being a IT hub, infrastructural hub, that is not achievable. And together we can achieve it. आपको कोई भी issue रहा, as a joint MD I am there. Together we can develop Nagpur as an IT hub. I am very much sure if you support me, and we in turn will support you, and together we will create a IT hub at Mihan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That is very, very reassuring. In fact, my next question to you would have been the same, that standalone, private companies will probably have their limitations, government. So I think, I know it is only 6 weeks or 7 weeks since you have taken charge for Mihan, but I think having a public and private, policy for the development of an area like Mihan will do wonders, sir. And also if you can, instill a workforce where we can all work collaboratively, academia, government, stakeholders, industry, for attracting GCCs. I think, what is currently possibly not there is the, sir ne bola ki ab chalu kiya hai, but GCC policy and Mihan as a public-private enterprise would do wonders for doing this, sir.
See, for a bureaucrat, when we are working, we will work in a particular that bureaucratic rules and regulation. But we are very open. If you have some input, you bring it to me, we will sit together. If that decision is possible at my level, I will take it. I will take it immediately. If that is not possible, you can see the government has delegated the power from Mumbai to Nagpur. You can see the intention behind that. Why? पहले एक छोटी सी फाइल मुंबई जाती थी, अब यहीं पे होती है. So you can understand the intention of the government behind this decision. So we should see this as an opportunity. So that's what I'm telling Gadkari sir ki advantage Vidarbha hone ke baad you can come to Mihan. You are expert in GCC. You tell us what to do, and we will definitely do it. Because आपने starting में जो बोला था GCC के 3-4 long form बताए थे, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है from bureaucratic point of view, I read it as good corporate conditions. Good corporate conditions in Mihan, and we should achieve it. We should catch the low-hanging fruits, and I invite all of you. You can have a tour. You can have a small meeting at W Building. Then we can have a tour. You will know, because that was our failure, that we are not able to sell our ideas to corporate people like you. So, but now the circumstances have changed. So,
thank you. Thank you, really appreciate. I know I am being poked that, we are already 10 minutes above for the start of the second session, but I'm sure nobody is complaining. I'm going to, only take 2 questions. And, this question to you, Manu. If you can really help us understand who are we competing with. There is this big thing that every GCC, at least 95% of them, end up going only to, the Bangalore's and the Hyderabad's and possibly now, the Pune's. We keep talking. In Nagpur, we feel we are the best. But the fact remains, we don't have a single GCC. Who is our competition? Are we competing with Bangalore, or are we competing with Indore, or are we competing with Ahmedabad? And just to, culminate the question, what is it that we need to do to be really attractive to, this GCC world? Mike.
Thanks, Ajay. I think I will tweak, if you allow me a question to tweak a bit.
Yeah,
Instead of
please.
compete, I will say what are the opportunities for us, right? Let's put a perspective to this. We have globally lakhs and thousands and lakhs of organizations. They are all looking for an area where I can scale up my back office, my global capability centers. Totally US, UK, Australia, all large developed countries, they probably have 5,000 or 4,000 GCCs total, right, till today. Maybe 3,000 plus minus. Out of which we have 1,600 in India, right? We have 60 to 65% of global GCCs across in India. So think of an opportunity. अभी तो कुछ भी नहीं है. There are thousands of which are waiting for to establish their shops in India. Right? So just 1,600, and there is a scale. Another point I will say, ITS industry probably took 45 years to become a 6 million members today, employees or talented people. This GCC industry has taken 10 to 12 years to become a 2 million. So see the growth part, and majority has happened post-COVID, right? So I think opportunity is amazing. I'm not even worried about what's happening in tier 1 or the developed cities. We have our own infrastructure, our own niche. But to answer, I will not duck your question. One, we can look into those who have existing GCCs in India and are trying to explore tier 2 cities. They're especially looking at Bangalore. Person is not asking that I want to go to Mumbai or Pune. They're saying, can I go to tier 2 city? Can I go to Vizag? Can I go to Kochi? We need to get Nagpur up there, right? So that's one. Second, there is a large organizations who are actually comes under in US and UK as small and medium sector, but they are very, very large. They are untouched. Second is that part of it. The third part is if we can specialize in area, like we have coal here and others, or energy sector and all, we can. So what I'm saying is we need not to compete that, okay, we need to get somebody from Bangalore or Pune to set up the shop in Nagpur. Market is huge. We just need to get ourselves on their radar. And I'm sure the way I am enlightened in last 24 hours or so, if they visit, they will definitely be ready to invest. And so what you have said, that shows the passion, that shows the commitment. And committing like 5 to 7 days, we will be able to do. I think I will definitely be going back and checking with my existing clients that, are you interested? At least go back to Nagpur and visit and meet them.
Thank you. Very quick question to you, Saurabh. I'm sure, you've seen some fantastic models, across different states. Is there something, which you can talk about, the entire ecosystem coming together? Maybe, the academia corporate, maybe, the policy corporate, something that you feel that we need to look. I know we have talked at 30,000 feet, but is there something that, you feel you can tell to the audience here, which might be valuable to us?
You mean in terms of examples?
Yes.
Well, the one example everybody's speaking about, GIFT, right? Ahmedabad, right? A fantastic example of the government taking initiative, private players coming together, building the whole infrastructure. They got away from the whole chicken and egg thing, right? That if the company asks me, then I will build the infrastructure. It is all there ready. And now, it took its time, right? They've been talking about GIFT for 10 years now, but now the kind of deal flow we are seeing into GIFT is phenomenal, right? GIFT. The same thing happened with Hyderabad a few years ago, right? Yeah. The same thing happened with Hyderabad. The cyber towers, cyber city, the whole system was up and running, and then, I think Oracle was the first company which was invited.
Yes.
Just come, set the center up, and there's always a tipping point. I mean, you don't need a lot to get this ball. You need a lot to get this ball rolling. When it's rolling, none of you will have to play a role. Organizations will come swarming themselves to come find, offices and set that up. But those are examples of, how you break this whole chicken and egg cycle, right? What comes first. So those are two examples. But in recent times, we're working with the government of Uttar Pradesh, and that's the example I was giving, right? I mean, they're also trying to do this, the integrated township example, right? They're building these integrated townships because the experienced people, they come in groups. They're coming here not just looking, a quality of life is basically where your friends are. If I have a few people who live there, the decision becomes much easier for me to go there. So those are some of the successes
Thank you.
I've seen.
I know, we could go on for 2 more hours. I'm sorry, Yes, sir.
Taking forward your point, can we have a session? I will call Kedai also. Banane wale, client lane wale, and administration. We will sit together. We can have a half-day session in Mihan, followed by tour of the Mihan. So I think that will be something concrete that can be measurable should come out of this
100%,
event.
sir.
And one more responsibility. Before the next edition of Advantage Vidarbha, I think at least one GCC should be ready in Mihan.
Sir, without having told you and without having taken consent from you, we were talking for 3 hours and we said, the first GCC will be set up in Nagpur, which will be India's first government GCC.
Yeah.
The intent is that all government departments, especially their back-end work, I think, that can be the best start because, it's in our control. We don't have to go to anybody. Infrastructure is there. And once we showcase to the whole world that, we can do it here, I'm sure it will be a model which can be taken to everybody else outside the
So
world.
we can have a positive discussion. So you just let me know when should we. But I think it should be before February only, so that if we need to take any decision, then I will go to government. Every possible model we can explore, government or PPP or DBFOS, any model that is best we can implement in Mihan. But we should start working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Friends, I will have to, because there's another set of luminaries sitting here patiently waiting. I take this opportunity, we have a very formal process, but I'll just take this opportunity to thank all of you who have been magnanimous with your time, not just for the panel, but since morning and brainstorming. I'm sure, there's so much more that has come up. We'll sit down separately, create a white paper which can be taken, to the right authorities. And thank you, sir. It has been really, really valuable. Vinod, if you can please assist with the gratitude and tokens. Friends, please do not leave your positions. We will not be taking any break. Immediately as this panel leaves, the second set of panel will actually be coming up. You'll have to take charge and probably just Rahul, quickly get on with the session.
Absolutely, without further ado. But before we conclude this session, huge round of applause for all our speakers for offering valuable insights on the topic. And last but not least, huge round of applause for Mr. Kapoor for handling the session so well and being a wonderful moderator. I request Dr. Vipin, if your busy schedule allows you to stay back for the next session, we would be more than happy and delighted if you stay. All right, sir, sure. So without further ado, may I request moderator for our next session, Mr. Rahul Karangale, Principal Consultant, Infosys, to please come up on the dais. Yeah. Thank you so much. Let's welcome our moderator for next session, Mr. Rahul Karangale, with a huge round of applause. I now request our honorable speakers to please come up on the stage. Mr. Tarang Puranik, EVP, Infosys. Mr. Ghansham Ahuja, Group CEO, VSAS Global. Mr. Yimanshu Kodwani, Partner, PwC. Mr. Aditya Bhatia, Center Head, Tech Mahindra. Mr. Arvind Kumar, Center Head, TCS. Mr. Nitin Sachdeva, MD and President, Delaplex. जोरदार तालियों से हम इनका स्वागत करते हैं. And now I hand over the stage to Mr. Rahul. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Without further delay, we'll just quickly get down to the point and the topic which is near to everybody's heart. Unleashing Nagpur's IT potential. And we all are here, not only panelists, but every one of us want to understand, want to see what is the roadmap that we have, what is the opportunity, what are the opportunities, what is one thing which will help us to grow, not as an individual, but as a Vidarbhian, as a Nagpurian. So without further delay, instead of somebody coming here and introducing these all chaps, I thought of they are all Nagpurian. They are by heart they are Nagpurian, by their act they are Nagpurian, and every one of them has a direct connection somewhere in the past or maybe in present also with Tarri Poha or maybe a Sauji, or whenever we say Nagpur, first thing comes to our mind is oranges. Second thing which comes to our mind is cotton, and nowadays we are tiger capital of world. So without further delay, I'll start with Tarang Puranik. I want Tarang, you can introduce yourself, not as a working professional, but it will be great if you can touch upon what is your direct connection and what is one thing that is very close to your heart of Nagpur. With Tarang. Tarang, before you start, I just want to call, I forgot, sorry, Anju, please be on the stage. Anju, she's from PwC, and she's will be the one who will be opening this session after the introduction. Anju, please join us on the stage. Yeah, Tarang, you can start.
All right. So, namaskar. Good afternoon, everyone. So, I am from Sauner, about 30 kilometers from Nagpur. That's where I have actually done my entire education till 10th. Then I studied in Nagpur for my engineering from VRC, and I am 11th and 12th I have done from St. Francis de Sales College. So my first formative years, up till I started to work, I have spent my time in Nagpur and Sauner, and I'm very proud about the city, about the culture here, about the friendships, and about the state of infrastructure that this city provides. Thank you.
Ghanshyam, you want to start?
Yes. So, Rahul, as you rightly said, not just Nagpur. मैं कारंजा लाड़ से हूँ. कितने लोगों को पता है कारंजा लाड़? Amazing. अमित भाऊ, मैं बोलने वाला था. Another speaker you heard. We are really proud. मैं कारंजा लाड़ में पैदा हुआ हूँ. वहाँ से नागपुर आया. मेरे father who is sitting here, he was an officer in RBI, Reserve Bank. इस वजह से मैं नागपुर में आया. यहीं पढ़ाई करी मैंने. शिवाजी साइंस का लड़का हूँ. रामदेव बाबा से पढ़ा हूँ. VNIT से पढ़ा हूँ. And last 22 years I have been to Singapore. अब टेक्निकली मैं इंडियन नहीं हूँ. मैं पासपोर्ट चेंज हो चुका है. Supposed to be one of the best passport in the world. But I'm really proud that I am able to connect center of India to center of Asia. That's my mantra. Center of India from Nagpur to center of Asia in Singapore.
Himanshu?
Yeah. Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here. I am born and brought up in Nagpur. So I stay in Jaripatka. I have been born there. I have done my 12th from Shivaji Science. I have hanged out outside of Hislop. You know, people who go to Shivaji Science, usually they do that. Did my education from Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Worked a bit in Infosys for some time. And then I left and came back to Nagpur. The connection to Nagpur is very strong. I have worked in like 3 Nagpur companies before I started with PwC. I worked with Exelon. I have worked with Persistent. So, true and true, authentic Nagpuri, I would say.
Absolutely. Nitin?
Hi everyone, I'm Nitin Sachdeva, born and brought up at Nagpur, a true Nagpurian. I head Delaplex Inc. US as a president there and run the Indian arm as a managing director. I am very proud to say we had the session around GCCs. So we are in fact a true GCC based out of Nagpur, having the heart and soul coming out of Nagpur and having establishments in different parts of the world, including the UK, the USA, and spread across India. And I take pride in saying that although I'm not an engineer, but I have learned the way how engineers work and how they think, living and learning from the engineers around me. I'm a chartered accountant by base qualification, and like him, I'm also an Hislopian, but a commerce graduate from Hislop. So I used to lead a very life which was very easygoing, and then I ventured into the IT stream, and I'm loving it. Honestly speaking, working with the engineers, hailing from different parts of the globe, and again having roots in Nagpur gives a true vigor and extra strength to you to scale up to next heights.
Thank you, Nitin. Aditya?
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Aditya Bhatia. I grew up in a place called Kamti Cantonment, which is around 30 kilometers from here. Done my engineering from here, and after that did my MBA from Pune. I'm working with the same organization for last 22 years. When I joined it, it was called Mahindra British Telecom. Now it's called Tech Mahindra. We have a presence here in Mihan. We are there for a decade old now. I had an option when the company started to come here, but I for now convinced my wife to come back and stay here in Nagpur. She's from Delhi. But finally, after COVID, she realized that this is the place where we should stay. So now I'm back in Nagpur after almost 20 years abroad, and happy to be part of this esteemed gathering.
Thank you, Aditya. Arvind?
Good evening, everyone. I am Arvind, Center Head of TCS Tata Consultancy Services in Nagpur. I came to Nagpur in year 2014. And amongst the TCS fraternity, I am known as that I re-established Nagpurian back to Nagpur. So that's my connection. Thank you.
Anju?
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Anjum. I'm the partner with PwC India and I lead the Salesforce practice there. I call myself visiting Nagpurian because I have been now associated with Nagpur for the last 13-14 years. Establishes practices primarily Salesforce here. So for everyone who is from Salesforce and everyone, this is where I found the best skill talent, by the way. It's one of the best. The quality of life, like Mr. Gadkarji said, is excellent. The level of people that we have found here, the relationships that I have made here, that is why I call Nagpur my second home, by the way.
And finally, I'm Rahul Karangai. I did my engineering from VNIT and I was there in Capgemini, Canbay, and now with Infosys, around 21 years into IT. But I was missing one thing, that is Lakshmi Nagar ka chai. So I decided to come back to Nagpur for that chai. So that's me, and I'll just hand it over to Ramya for the to welcome all the dignitaries and the guests for this panel discussion that we have.
After this wonderful but unconventional introduction to all our panelists and speakers, let's move on to keynote address by Ms. Anjumara Said. Please put your hands together for her, and I request her to deliver her keynote address.
Thank you so much. I was asked to give this keynote and I'm very happy. I said yes immediately because of my Nagpur connection. I think the topic that we have for this panel is unleashing Nagpur potential. And I believe that with the crowd that we see here, with the event that is established here, with the support that as Nagpur we have from the government, from the industry body, and from the academia, I think you require nothing else. That is what is the core of it. I just want to see Nagpur making really, really big on the map. I think that is where we all have to become ambassadors and do it. And that is why I'm doing as an outsider, not a born Nagpurian, but still I'm doing it because I feel we are all ambassadors who have to come back and do it for it. And there is a lot of belief on this, and there are reasons for that belief because, like I said, I have been part of my 25 years of my career, IT career. 13 to 14 years have been associated with Nagpur because I found the best teams in Nagpur. And I think these are the imperatives when we are looking at industries, the MNCs coming here. Almost in the last few years, we have around 150 MNCs that have established their centers. And of which, if you look at, maximum of them are trying to figure out what are the locations that they want to look at. There is a lot of demand for skill set which are very unique. Like the one I talked about, Salesforce. How many of you know Salesforce, by the way? Well, it's a very hot skill in the market if you realize that. It is one of the skill that gives you the best money on your this. And if you have the best money with the quality of life that you have in Nagpur, with the standard of living, the cost of living, which is not that high if you're living in a tier 1, tier 2 city, what else do you want for, right? And that is where I think one very important aspect for Nagpur to unleash the potential is going to be this skill. Developing onto that skill, like I talked about Salesforce or cyber security is becoming more and more relevant in the market. The third is AI, machine learning. I know all of you have heard that. How many of you are working onto it? Now there is where developing that skill set, and if there are academia who's present here, I think we would need to start thinking about how do we bring those skill set into the forefront for Nagpur to unleash the potential that it has. So one is the skill set part of it and the niche skill set. I'm again saying that there's a lot of skill set. We have a lot of engineering colleges here. We have a lot of institutes here. How do you do it for the niche talent? That is the first part of it. Second is, I think for the industries who are here, one of the best advantage, and that has been my reason to be associated with Nagpur for such a long time, is attrition is the lowest. There's hardly any attrition here. Okay, because if you're happy, if the team is happy with you, you're working on something which is very, very good, there is no reason for someone in Nagpur to leave a company just for getting some higher money somewhere else. So you are not dealing with a situation that you have in a Bangalore or a Mumbai or something. So therefore, attracting and using that to talk about it, that how attrition low actually improves the opportunity cost and gives you back the saving, is something that has to be talked about and discussed more. But that was primarily my reason actually to stick to Nagpur and continued for so many years that I've been associated here. The third part of this is, I think, the focus that the government has in terms of the different initiatives. I think there, if we can do much better than what, and I think that has started the focus has started, and that is a first step towards it. But how are you building on top of it? I think that is one which would help. The fourth aspect of it, and this is a request that I have, is how do we build incubation parks here? How do we make Nagpur the next startup ecosystem? Because the more you have startup ecosystem, more you have startups here, the more skilled that you would have here, the more companies would be coming here. The more companies coming here, we will have a lot of people across the country coming back to Nagpur or starting from Nagpur. So therefore, building that ecosystem, that partnerships is going to be very, very relevant into all of this. Again, I think there are a lot of questions to the panel. I know we are stretch of time, but like I said, the potential that I see is like a tiger on sitting very silently when you go and see. मेरे को नहीं दिखाया है tiger अभी तक. Everyone tells me that every 50 kilometer you find a tiger. That is all. I think a Nagpur person believes हमको दिखता है, but मुझे नहीं दिखा है for whatever years that I've been. मैं नागपुर वालों के साथ ही रहती हूँ यहाँ पे. But yeah, I have not seen, but I feel it is Nagpur potential is like that tiger.
ये हमारा तरीका है बुलाने का लोगों को ताकि लोग नागपुर में आए.
टाइगर का पोटेंशियल बहुत है. टाइगर छुपा हुआ है, तो please let it come out. That is what I would call the real unleashing. So over to the panel now.
Thank you, Anju. Probably from the answers now, which will come from the panelists, you will find a lot of tigers over here. So definitely, I'll start with Tarang. So Tarang, being with Infosys for such a long time, you have been traveling all across the globe. Currently, you are managing the Europe business from consulting and delivery standpoint. I just wanted to understand, there are a lot of values that you are bringing it to Infosys every other day. So what are the prominent values that you want to bring it to Infosys Nagpur? And top of that, I just wanted to understand, how was your experience so far after setting up Infosys Nagpur?
Okay. So great. So talking about tigers, actually the Infosys campus has had a tiger.
Yeah.
So at some point we actually had a tiger on the campus, you know. So anyway, so no, I think that's a great question. So, you know, I would say that when we thought about Nagpur, right, and we said, how do we want to start the practice here? As it happens, you know, the big cities have already taken some of the key areas of focus and drive. And then when you talk about Nagpur, the thought was that, okay, let's start with BPO, let's start with some services which are lower end services and so on and so forth. And the one thing that we decided as Infosys was that we will not do that. We will do what is the cutting edge, newest technologies, because that's the path for us to grow this center, right? So whether it is AI, whether it is Salesforce, whether it is, you know, ERP areas like SAP or Oracle, whether it is ADM, in ADM areas like the DevOps, the agile methodologies and so on and so forth. So we are focused on bringing the best of the newer areas to Nagpur so that we can really propel the growth in the region, right? It also requires people to be built in terms of skills, right? So we have used a combination of people that were within Infosys who were willing to come back to Nagpur and also ensure that we are able to further develop the ecosystem and create the talent required for these services, right? The third thing that we did was also that as a center, we have really canvassed across the entire sales team across the world to see how we can make sure that Nagpur is in the radar, right? And that has really helped to make sure that we are able to get projects into Nagpur and develop the center. Now what we are doing further is to ensure that we are moving, you know, now that it has become sizable in different areas, that we are moving more senior leadership into Nagpur, and that is what our next phase is, to move more senior leadership from Infosys into Nagpur, that we can drive the growth. So these are 3-4 areas I would say that we have done to try and see how we can develop. Coming about values that you spoke about, Infosys has a whole set of its values. We call it C Life, right? And of course we follow that in Nagpur as well. It is about making sure customer is at the center, making sure that there is fairness in whatever we do, there is integrity, and of course driving excellence. So some of those things we obviously focus on in Nagpur to drive what it is there. See, earlier in the conversation there was a talk about, okay, what are some of the things that we should do, to propel Nagpur and get it in place and so on and so forth. But I think there are 2 ingredients which are required. First thing is that never think of Nagpur as a tier 2 city, right? And I think it's very important that hum kisi se kam nahi hai, right? We have to believe that. We need to have that courage to believe that hum kisi se kam nahi hai, right? So that's number 1, I would say, right? And second is that every interaction, people watch you. So professionalism is very important. If you want to become good in the industry and be known in the industry, you have to be professional. And that means being punctual about time, being punctual about whatever you do, making sure that you're articulate enough, your communication skills are good. These are some fundamentals that are required for us to propel ourselves. That's what I would say.
Yep. Thanks. That was great. I'll just move on to Ghanshyam. So local boy making a global presence, right? So you're setting up a lot of businesses all across, right? You are thinking of giving back to Nagpur. That is what I want to understand from you.
Yes, I have a lot of memories and a lot of things to share about Nagpur connection, कैसे काम में आता है. So I was working for company Cognizant. In fact, I am proud to be the first employee of Cognizant in Singapore in 2006 when Cognizant started. Then I went to Deloitte, and then I started my own software company called VSaaS. V is for value, creating value for software as a service. And sir, proud to share with all of you sitting here, without you knowing, all of you are my customers. VSaaS is currently bringing new age SaaS product like Smartsheet, Miro. We just launched Miro in India, and we are the distributors for Asia and Middle East. And all of you, including Infosys for Smartsheet, Miro, all of you are our clients. So I would say we are already GCC enablers out of Nagpur, enabling big fours and IT companies for new age SaaS. So that's the first thing I would share. Then the second thing is my very first job itself in Nagpur, in Singapore, was referred by somebody who's from Nagpur. I was working for iGate, he referred me to Cognizant. So that's the second connection, I would say. Third is when I decided to become an entrepreneur in 2013, last 11 years I have been running my own business. It was very clear my focus was on Nagpur, that I want to have my very first employee coming out of Nagpur. And till today we have more than 100. We are a mid-sized company, 100 plus. Most of the employees, I'm proud. When I decided to hire from IIM, IMTs, decided to hire from here first, rather than going to Bangalore and Chennai and all that. So that's a belief I have in Nagpur. कि हम अगर खुद कर सकते हैं, जैसे आपने बोला हम किसी से कम नहीं, यार अगर हम पहुंच सकते हैं कारंजा लाट जैसे छोटे गांव से लेके नागपुर से लेके वहां पहुंच सकते हैं, तो यहाँ के तो बच्चों में दम होगा ही होगा, तो हम क्यों भूलें. So that belief continued. And the last most proud thing which I want to share with you, some of you know me as Thinkuvate, which is an early stage fund. I run an innovation fund called Thinkuvate. It's a 100 crore fund, invested in 30 companies. Those companies have reached close to 150 million valuation all put together, 1600 employees. जब हमको सेबी का लाइसेंस मिला, पहला प्राउड मोमेंट, आप सब खुश होना चाहिए आपको. सिंगापुर ओन्ड फंड को सेबी ने लाइसेंस दिया इन जस्ट 35 डेज टाइम. पूरे इंडिया में, वर्ल्ड में कोई रिकॉर्ड है ये. इंडिया के बाकी बड़े फंड्स को इतना टाइम नहीं लगा जो हमको लगा, 35 डेज. सो आई डिसाइडेड टू लॉन्च दैट फंड इन नागपुर. द लास्ट पॉइंट, हाउ इट हेल्प मी नागपुर इज, आज आई एम प्राउड टू से मेरे 200 जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उस फंड में, पहले 15 बड़े इन्वेस्टर्स इंक्लूडिंग माई जनरल पार्टनर नाउ शशिकांत सर, ऑल आर फ्रॉम नागपुर. मेरे 15 इन्वेस्टर्स सब के सब नागपुर से हैं. तो नागपुर से हम बड़े ड्रीम्स खड़े कर सकते हैं. नाउ फ्रॉम 100 crores वी आर गोइंग टुवर्ड्स 100 million VC fund. That's it.
I think you want to give it back to Nagpur.
I am already giving back. I just launched yesterday, even though it was a last minute, but I launched. I am proud to share with you. We launched 3P certification. Sir, आपने जो बात करी, I strongly feel this is a problem. 3P certification. I am launching first time in Nagpur after training 1000 professionals in Singapore. Singapore government ने मुझे बुलाया था 4 साल पहले under Smart Nation initiative to train 1,000 PMETs बोलते हैं वहाँ पे, professionals, managers. After that, I'm launching directly here. First time, it's called 3P certification, which is product, process, and project management using new age tools. So that's what I'm giving back to first 50 students, and then uske baad it will become commercial.
Thank you, Ghanshyam. That was really enlightening and wonderful. Now I'll move on to Arvind. And first thing, I request everyone in the hall to give a round of applause for TCS. Reason being, they are the first one to conduct a Run for Life marathon.
Fit for Life.
Yeah,
marathon.
Fit for Life marathon in Nagpur. And let me tell you that that really created a buzz within the city, within Vidarbha, that yes, IT ke log bhi daud sakte hain.
Yes.
Generally, we have a perception that they sit in a very AC cabin and they cannot do anything. But yes, 5 kilometers, I think, and 10 kilometers.
5K and 10K.
That was the really great thing, and we appreciate Arvind for that. A round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Arvind, I'll just ask a question which is very near to your heart, because I've been watching you from last 2 years. Every academic function, every college, every forum where there is a interaction, industry interaction with student, Arvind is there. And today we have a time constraint. Otherwise, if I ask Arvind to speak, he can speak 3 hours, 4 hours with the students, and he exchange wonderful ideas with them. So having said that, Arvind, we have seen there is a collaboration that is happening between Triple IT and Google AI. There is another initiative of government, central government, which is going on, AI in agriculture. We are planning to set up a CO in VNIT. So we have already signed an agreement with VNIT. So what do you think? And when like he has launched 3P, I can see those 3P in a different way. That is Gadkari, Devendraji and Shelar. They are the powerhouses that we have. So when the government is with us, when this kind of a collaboration is happening, how the corporates can leverage that to build a infrastructure or the ecosystem, what we are thinking of, so that we can take a Nagpur to the next step?
Yeah, very interesting question, observation, and as well as the subject. And Honorable Minister spoke about setting up the AI University in Maharashtra. And as you mentioned, there are initiatives that has been taken to establish the AI Center of Excellence in Nagpur. But many times we have to really understand that when we talk about an AI, it is a multidisciplinary. It has an industrial aspects and as well as a social aspect. And just like when we talk about the universe of an IT, many times in the colleges when we were there, IT means programming. But is it like that? And so is what the paradigm of the AI is. AI is AI-enabled services and AI engineering services as well. So when we look into the aspects of an AI, and when we have to talk to the students in the academia, we have to really talk about the universe of an AI, because AI does not necessarily only need the engineers, right? When we talk about a prompt engineering, probably you need to have a person who can really construct a right, understandable syntax and semantics to the machines from where we want to have an intelligence out of it. It's a value that we have to understand that. When we talk about the social aspects of an AI, probably you need to have the subject matter expertise. That is what I say, the contextual knowledge that is very important, because if you want to develop certain kind of an apps and intelligence coming out for the travel and transportation industry, you need to have the subject matter expertise of a travel and transportation industry. And so is in the agriculture as well. Yes. Just a person with a programming language expertise of a Python or R system may not be able to add less value in the AI Center of Excellence for Agriculture. You need to have a cross-functional understanding about the AI as well as the agriculture to really bring a value and the use cases there. So what are my suggestions to all the people is that when we look into the AI, look at the AI from the holistic and which spectrum of the AI you want to operate at. For example, you want to operate the AI only for the training modules, you need to have some things where actually you can tag metadata creations. That's how actually you need to look into that. If you really want to go into the engineering aspects of it, you need to understand about the LLM. You understand about the machine learning part of it. You need to understand the data science part of it. You need to understand the programming aspects of it. If you really want to develop certain use cases, the industry use cases, for example, in Nagpur, I always say that we do not need to rediscover a new area. If Nagpur is known for certain things which is already it is a strength, like supply chain, right, logistic, how can the AI in supply chain is what we need to talk about. If we talk about Nagpur as a cotton belt, how can AI for the agriculture, which can consist of cotton as well as the orange city, as AI in that? If we talk about the Nagpur as a tiger capital of India, how can AI help in reducing the man and animal conflict? So what we need to look into that, let's talk about what is the strength of Nagpur already is. Nagpur has multiple such attributes. Logistic hub, tiger capital, orange city, diamond crossings, right? And then RBI has the largest vault of a gold, probably a bullions that is there in Nagpur. Whatever the strengths that you have, how can AI act as a strength plus plus? And when we look into this cross section, I'm pretty sure the talent base which is operating from Nagpur, they can take up the use cases. These use cases will help the local economy. These use cases will generate the local entrepreneurs. And these local entrepreneurs can develop whatever the solutions and the services and the products which can serve Nagpur, Maharashtra, and as well as India and for the global. That's where actually we should probably be collaborating with the academia as well. And the last point that today if you look at all the academic sector, all the engineering colleges that we have in Nagpur, they have a specialized 4-year degree program in the BTech in artificial intelligence or BTech in data science or BTech in cybersecurity. Look at all the engineering colleges, because I'm there in their board, academic senate, and I have said that's already there. It means that talent aspect, especially the bottom of the pyramid talent that is already being built. Can industry come forward with the right kind of use cases, give those use cases in terms of the lab work, project work, hackathons, and actually going there and talking about what are the different use cases that the students can take it up, and probably elevate that level where we should not be talking about the dearth of talents, we should be talking about plentiful of talents. Thank you.
Great. So Arvind, as you know, there are multiple panel discussions are happening right from dairy, pharma, jewelry, multiple sectors, and definitely the advice or the thought that you have given, that will really help all those panel discussion apart from IT which is going on, that how they can leverage AI for their own businesses. Yesterday when Roshni Nadar was here, she was talking about how technology can help in the forest, because we have 80% of the forest of Maharashtra in Vidarbha. So when it comes to tourism, tiger tourism, or you can say a normal tourism, how that can help, the technology can help. That's one of the point that has came in the yesterday's discussion. And definitely the advice that came from you, that will definitely help. Coming to Nitin, so sometime back, every headline in the newspaper, small office to IPO. And when I read that, I think I was sitting somewhere in Pune, and then I read that headline, I felt, so chhati chaudi ho gayi, that kind of a stuff. Yes, our guy can make a place not in Nagpur, not in Vidarbha, but in Nasdaq as well. So a big round of applause for Nitin and the Delaflex. They have launched their IPO and they are going global. So Nitin, just wanted to understand from that small office to an IPO, your journey, and one thing that you really want to suggest to the youth of Nagpur or the youth of Vidarbha, that will really create a bring a value out of this discussion. So over to you, Nitin.
Thank you so much. The early success that we received with our IPO in 2024, it was exactly 1 year ago on 2nd of February 2024 that we got listed on NSE Emerge platform. It was a testament. Thank you. We completed 1 year. Thank you for that. It was a testament of our team's commitment our innovative approach to embracing technological solutions, and the concrete foundation that we built right from day one. We are very strong on processes and believe in the power of innovation, collaborating with the customer, with our partners, being vendors or all stakeholders, being our key associates. We don't have a word employee in our organization, we call them associates. So the people who were there with us are still the most valued asset in our company, and they are the success drivers for the IPO. Yes, we started small, but with a very big dream. Honestly, we started in a 20 by 10 square feet office. My colleague here can vouch for that. He's a witness. He's part of that journey with me, Dr. Rizwan Ahmed. And basically, from day one, we thought that yes, we have to become big. We started accepting all challenges, trying to convert them into opportunities, but with the mindset of global delivery. And that is how, growing over the time, although with a small start, we developed capabilities serving as a global delivery center right from the heart of India, that is Nagpur, and we are really proud of it. We still continue to grow Nagpur, and the success attributed with few key milestones, early successes, when we had this mindset of serving with full confidence that yes, we are completely in accordance with the global requirements on information security policy, all compliance requirements, all customer expectations. So although the projects may have been small, but we embedded all processes in a way that yes, this is a large project for us and we need to become an enterprise, an organization, not a small business. So with that mindset, we got some early successes. We invested in people. We proudly say that we have a long list of retained associates who are our key assets in the organization, who make Delaplex what it is today. Delaplex is not made of brick and mortar or external funding. It's about the people and the contribution that the people have done, working in the processes that we have implemented from day one, and using the new age technologies. We always focused on innovation in all our approaches. We have a very strong L&D department from day one, which helped us. People are talking about AI as a buzzword these days, but believe me, we have been embedding AI since 2010-11, since our initial days. Forecasting, analytics, be it data science, we are at the top of it. All our customers, we have a heavy customer retention rate with us, just as a testament that yes, whatever we have done. So what we do is we become part of the customer journey. When we start with customers, we focus on their needs of growth and we grow. So we measure our success with the success what our customers derive. And outcome is like you see, like we are an IPO listed entity. And this is not an overnight journey. It took a lot of efforts and contribution. And this is just a small milestone, my friends. This is not a financial achievement what we have received, but a validation of the commitment and ethos that we have built in the organization. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Definitely, zero distance to the customer that we say. Understanding the customer problem is the crux of the IT business, and you did it really well for that.
Thank you.
Moving on to a lot of people, 14 years back, when we were thinking of stepping out of the Nagpur and getting a good opportunity and job in Pune, Bangalore, and other cities. That time, Himanshu decided to come back to Nagpur 14 years back, and then he started doing his work from Nagpur. So Himanshu, we all want to understand that what is that you have learned out of the decision that you have taken 14 years back, and what is the one message that you want to pass on to every one of us, that being in Nagpur, what wonders that we can do?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think my decision has worked well for me, right? I have been blessed with the honor of being part of this panel. But if you think of what is it that I was thinking 14, 15 years back, I think all the success is basically a result of an act of adventure, right? So I was with Infosys, I was in UK. I think when you start your career, you don't think of anything else than, like you go on site, you work for the largest company, you're working with the best clients, and 2-3 years down the line, I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. Obviously, there are like multiple things in that. Professionally, I wanted to work with an product company. Personally, I was more aligned to be part of where I have grown. You know, I have family here. Uh, but if you look at it as a hindsight, this all is, had made sense for me. But when I now look at it and say, what are the learnings I have got? I think if you do anything, what has worked well for me is when I was with Infosys, I learned the best processes in terms of how the large organization works, which helps you in scaling teams, right? That is what I learned there. When I was with Exelon, I learned the best thing about how products are managed, products are built. I think they were running a SaaS offering in 2011 when I joined them. I don't think the SaaS word itself was very popular at that time. Okay, so I may have been called a business analyst, I may have been called a functional lead, but essentially what I was doing is what product managers do nowadays. You know, the terminologies change, but I think the skills remain constant in terms of how do you present yourself, because if you have to, we are talking about bringing GCCs here. The whole session was earlier that. Now, if you are going to bring GCCs here, you need to have people who can communicate in their language. You need people who are local, but obviously, they can speak the language globally is aligned in terms of enterprises speak. So, learning at every stage, and not being afraid of taking some risk. Obviously, everybody has to find the areas where they are comfortable with and where they want to have their adventure, as I said, right? So, you can say location is my area where I am comfortable with, and now I will experiment with different things. So going from Exelon to Persistent I joined as a Salesforce consultant, where Salesforce word itself was not used in the JD. They were calling it as a CRM consultant because Salesforce was not a terminology which was well established at that time. So from there, when I joined PwC, I think in 2019 there was no COVID, and at that point I kind of was able and fortunate to negotiate with my partner, who is also on the panel, that I'll work from Nagpur. So you will always, when you work towards some goal, you will find people who are able to support you. They are ready to support you. And then you have to build on top of it. Now we have more than 50 people in Nagpur as a PwC. Obviously we will grow more. So in terms of learnings, if you keep on it, if you keep working towards your goals, have your skills defined clearly, and then find areas where you can improve. I think that has worked well for me, and I think it should work for everybody else as well.
Great, thank you. Thanks. We'll move on to Aditya Bhatia. So, man who is known for one thing, that how to mobilize people. I would say I've seen Aditya, he's very good at management, even though he's a very techie guy, but he knows how to mobilize people. And one thing that I can see in the recent past, I think T-System has their GCC in your campus, right? So I just wanted to understand, what are the plans that TechM has when it comes to GCC, and what is the roadmap that you guys are looking out for when the T-System has a small GCC in your campus?
See, thank you, Rahul, and delighted to be part of this panel. One thing I have realized is that you have to grow brick by brick. While the ambitions may be big, aspirations may be big, it also has to be supported by the ecosystem. I was giving this example, I think we were having the informal discussions where, we need to have a talent in the city. I think this is the point our other panelists also touched upon. With the type of infrastructure that we have, with the type of we have passion for the city, with the people like him who are ruling the executive positions, getting projects, getting companies into the city will not be a big thing. What we also need to do is to match by the ecosystem that is there. And ecosystem is not only about talent, ecosystem is not only about monetary gains at the times. If somebody with the experience is moving back into the city, they also need to have a balanced life. They also need to have the conviction that the type of life they want to live, once they achieve the success in professionalism, once they have achieved some level of monetary satisfaction, that needs to be there. Lot of this, one good thing is that we are an aspirational society, we are an aspirational country. So I keep giving this example. These days, if you find young couples staying together, only husband and wife and nobody else, they probably call it as a joint family. So essentially, coming back to Nagpur, the growth part is there, we have all arrived. We now need to go to the next level. The ingredient for us to take to the next level will be the people, the talent that we have in. Specifically with Tech Mahindra, we started with the big plan for the GCC. But to be honest, we have to scale it back to the level which we can achieve more. Achievements have to be matched also by the talent that we have. But yes, the GCCs have started in Nagpur and then it will come and we will grow. But one thing I can assure you with what I have seen here for last half a decade from the time I am operating out of the city, the aspiration is there, the growth mindset is there. All we need to do is to put together our channels and thoughts in the right direction.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Aditya, for that. Thank you. So we have a lot of student and young chaps sitting here. And I've seen like during their engineering days or during their graduation days, every one of them is, pick up the phone and they reach out to their own people saying that I need to do an internship, I need a vocational training, right? So I just wanted to understand like how as a corporate we can help them out so that every single fellow of Nagpur should get that fair chance to do an internship at a good company, good corporate, or for that matter, a good amount of technology knowledge that he or she should be able to gain during this, internship or vocational training that I would say. Nitin, do you want to add to it?
So a very value of our budding entrepreneurs, business executives. So what we are trying is, as Delaplex, we are trying to approach other companies. We will be coming up very soon, and this is a platform I would take this opportunity to reach out to companies, to academia, to government agencies, the startup ecosystem enablers, build a platform, a robust platform for the students where they have visibility around what is in store in the next decade which is there. So it's not just the internship is aimed at getting them equipped to crack one interview for a job, the first job, but it is what they want to build as a career for long term. So we are looking at collaborating with different companies from the region, education institutions, and the government support would be there. So without much of the financial involvement from any of the agencies, we can definitely shape up the future. These are my inputs on this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very interestingly, what happened yesterday, I was in Mumbai. Very positive thing I got from my investee company, the 30 companies what we invested. In fact, VSAS has already got 20 plus interns in just last 1.5 years, and out of which 6 we have hired full time. So any one of you looking for internships, I think look out for us here. We'll be more than happy to first give preference to Nagpur, that's first thing. One thing I heard from my own startups in Mumbai, he didn't know about Nagpur's power. He said, Ghanshyam, since you are going to this event, make an open announcement that our startups, 30 startups who have 1,500 employees already, they are ready to get interns because Thinkuvate is from Nagpur. So more than happy to support those 30 companies plus VSAS Global for the 3 Ps what I said, product, process, and project management. We are happy to train them as well.
Great, thanks.
If I can add a couple of more points. So run a certain programs within the organization. So we run what we call as the InStep. This is a global internship program. It has been ranked as #1 in the world, by the way, for the last 3 to 4 years. And what we do as part of this is a 6-month internship. In India, we do it at a very select, very select set of folks. But it is a global internship that we drive, and that's one area that we focus on. The other piece is that within the organization, we have launched a forum for entrepreneurship. So we actually, within the company, ask for ideas from employees where they can come up with ideas, and then we fund them so that they can develop a company of their own over a period of time. And so that's the other piece, which is how we develop entrepreneurs within the organization to see how they can become big over a period of time. So we should look at seeing how some of those we can participate across rather than just within the organization and build more.
Very interesting to know. I didn't knew this from Infosys. My open offer to you, Infosys, Thinkuvate as a fund, which is 100 crore fund. I would strongly recommend do join hands with funds like us, where we co-invest with a employee from Infosys running as an entrepreneur. A lot of companies do that. More than happy to collaborate on that.
Sure. And that's a great thing.
So we do have an investment fund, though. An innovation fund is what we call it. So there are about 340 startups outside of Infosys with whom we collaborate. We have done some investments in those and developed that ecosystem as well.
So as we are talking about a roadmap to success, and for any success, any roadmap to grow, the brand value is very important. The branding is very important. So Arvind, if we want to really go for a great branding of Nagpur as a IT destination, what are the three things that comes to your mind that government or municipal corporation or Mihan or whatever authorities that we have? So what are the top three things that we should vouch upon so that we can create that brand, Nagpur is the destination for IT?
Probably I have touched upon this particular aspect last year as well. One of the low-hanging fruit to brand Nagpur amongst the global audience and as well as the decision maker and influencers from Nagpur is to really utilize the two arteries, the roads that we have, the Vardha Road and the Higna Road, whereby you can display the name of all the companies which is operating from Nagpur. If you relate it to the statement that I am making, when you go to Pune, when you go to Hyderabad, when you go to Bangalore, you step out of the airport or railway station, you see all those flashy lights, the logos of various companies which is there. Do you have a second thought that I have come to a wrong city? No. Either you want to make a choice for yourself or you want to establish something in that particular city. But if you look at today, despite the fact that Nagpur has, out of the 5 large system integrator, TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, HCL, none of these logos are visible in this Vardha Road and Higna Road, right? Because we are all located very comfortably in Mihan, right? And there is no logos. How? So if you look at why do we need to sell it? Today there is a presence of these. Today we have a presence of Delaplex, today a presence of Persistent, Infosys, so many companies, Global Logic, so many companies that is there. But we still have to talk about that, yes, we are there. And this is one simple thing with the help of the local authority, whether it is with the help of Dr. Itankar as the head of Mihan, or with the help of the NMC, or whosoever, aid as an agency, can we do something which can be done very quickly? Because there are, when I go to various such kind of conferences, I do see that there are people who have come from Nagpur and they have made big and they are doing so good in various companies. Do we need to sell to them? Yep. They have those emotional attachment already, just like one of us is there, right? So if we need to do something whereby every single person, whether we talk in terms of a talent, whether in terms of bringing an investment or scaling up the current operations to the next level, all of us need to have a pride in doing that without saying explicitly that we need to do that. And this is one lowest hang. Second part is you touched upon the internship, right? And I also got an opportunity to interact with His Excellency, General Counsel of United States of America last week. Many of the people from the industry, we were invited for that particular session. And one of the point that stuck to me, that today when we talk about bringing an investment, we primarily talk about how do we bring the Google of the world to Nagpur. And he said they have their own priorities. They have already made something big. They do not actually come just by the government is asking them to come, whether it is the government of India or the government of United States of America. Where we need to look into that, there are universities which is across the world, and so is the United States of America. So many new ideas are getting incubated there. So many startups are coming out of that particular universities. And US is known for bringing the tech, right, up front, first in the world. Why can't we collaborate with the universities, the labs in the universities, which has a hunger to grow, but at this point of a time, it is that inception level and a startup level, and they are looking for talent, which can be supplemented by the city of Nagpur, right? So if university to university connects or industry to university connects, that can be established. Probably many of the future GCC, right, that we would be able to incubate in Nagpur itself. So we can probably look into that particular aspects, and definitely these exchanges that will happen, it will not only be academia related, it could be academia and industry combinations that will be helpful as far as the city of Nagpur is concerned.
Thank you, Arvind. When we say setting up a GCC or bringing new companies to Mihan or for that matter Nagpur, the very first thing comes to my mind or company's mind, what they demand for is the modern workspace. They want a facility where they can just come and plug and play and they can do their business. So Aditya, I think you are a part of multiple discussions that's happened across the Nagpur when it comes to real estate or setting up something. So what is your thought, like how we can suffice the ask that is coming from the new companies or the GCCs which is going to be there in near future? So how we can, help those companies to have that kind of a spaces?
Hello. These days the awareness has increased a lot. Now the forums like this and the seminars like this brings together a lot of players together. So within Nagpur, I was told there is a lot of private space which is being created by the CREDAI and similar bodies. Now what is required probably if the forums like AID is to plug the gap between the person who wants to come and start up their own centers and give the confidence to the players that yes, whatever investments they are making will be, worthwhile. Because what happens is that, as I told, the ambitions and the aspirations have to be matched by the ecosystems. We tried our hands in setting up the GCC, we had a limited success. Now with all the advertisement that we are doing for the city, all the talent pool that is available to us, we have a lot of customers who want to start their own GCCs in India. The people who are sitting on this panel are part of those discussions, where we are working for a lot of clients. And those clients, if they want to set up the GCC here, we can pitch in. That is how we were able to attract one of the players here. So there is an ample amount of space which is available, there is ample amount of opportunity which is available. What is now required is a concentrated effort, which bodies like AID or some other bodies can keep in, when they can bring a credible player who has a space already being created, and then go back to the decision makers with the confidence and showing the data that, we have a talent available here, we have the people who understand your domain. See, one important thing which our friend from Deloitte and PwC told us, that for the workforce of the GCC, it is very important for them to also understand the process. For the GCC will come either for the specialized industries in BFSI, vertical, healthcare, telecom, wherever they come in. So their workforce will not be only limited to the technology. They will need the workforce who can also understand the factor in which those GCCs are going to operate. So while the physical infrastructure is important in terms of giving them the confidence that there is bird class, there is a connectivity, there is a place for their staff to stay, what is equally important is to tell them that there is already a potential of workforce which they are going to hire. Because nobody is going to come here and say that 90% of the workforce we are going to bring in from the outside. Yeah. A GCC who has to open up an office in Nagpur needs to be convinced that I have the talent here which will be local talent at least for the 50% of my need, and then 50% can be a combination of what Arvind sir was saying, from the tie-up with the academia or the local talent. So we need to work towards a model which actually simulates all of these parameters together. The availability of the workforce which understands the domain, the physical part where the infrastructure is readily available. And third thing is a conviction to the person who's coming here, yes, once I go here, I will not fail. So I think those are the important parameters where I think there is a lot of effort which are still required to be made.
Great. So we are, towards the end of this panel discussion. I know many of the folks sitting here, they have to catch their flight, and already we have delayed a bit. Before we end, I just request Tarang Puranik if he can give a concluding statement for this entire panel discussion that we did today.
Thank you. So I think very good perspectives from the panelists here. I would say that because the whole theme was about the fact that how does Nagpur become relevant for the future growth in the IT industry. I think whether you talk about GCCs or whether you talk about the IT companies coming here and delivering, the first and the most important piece is around talent, right? And the talent here should make sure that we are developing skills around AI, around data science, around cyber security, And I personally think that this is going to now further evolve. The AI journey is further going to evolve into robotics. And so I think those are the areas where the talent from here should really build skills on, so that there is ready talent available for us. Of course, the academia and companies like ours, have to partner to make sure that we're developing the right talent as we go along. So that's one, I would say. The second is that, while we do have infrastructure and the government is very willing and so on and so forth, what I see lacking is that all of us have to do more to bring the key stakeholders to this place, because there is no other way to convince them for them to see what's there.
Yep.
Right? And that, I think, we have to do more and more if we really want to make a difference. It is not enough for us to go to them and say, you come to Nagpur. You have to bring them to Nagpur to show what's available. And that's how you can actually develop and see. Many people can know, and then they will get convinced about it. There is no reason why we will not be able to convince if they come and visit here. The third is that we should take example of, let's say, Hyderabad, right? The way they went about it, to make Hyderabad an IT capital today is through a lot of planning and foresight. And it did not happen with one or two people. The entire government machinery, the industry machinery, the academia, all of them came together to drive it. And I think we need a clear game plan if we want to succeed on that journey. And that involves having a team which visits, let's say, US or a Europe or Asia Pacific, meets customers, provides value of why they should be coming. So it requires sales. It has to be run like a corporation. It has to have a sales engine. It needs to have a engine for operations, engine for delivery. So you need all of those aspects to be able to drive it through and through and really make it relevant. About GCCs, everybody's talking about GCCs. It has become now a in thing to talk about GCCs. But I would say that even the large corporations that are here and the startup ecosystem, there is a lot of jobs that we can create amongst us, right? In terms of what we can do for the industry. A GCC is great to have, right? All of the big companies, when somebody wants to open a GCC, that customer is a customer of one of these companies.
Yep.
Okay. And when they want to open GCC, they are going to come and talk to one of us to say, I want to open GCC, where should I open it? Can you guide me what I can do? Or they are going to say, let it be a BOT model. Can you build it for me? And after 5 years, I will take over. That's typically the models that you find with GCC. So it is on us to also make sure that we are actually telling the GCCs that why don't you look at Nagpur, right? Why don't you look at, other cities that are there, but also look at Nagpur, right? So I think we need to position that more and more as we go along. So I think these are some of the areas I feel that we all need to work through to really make it possible. I'll just speak one point additionally is about startups. Today I met with some of the actually 25-year kids, 20-year kids, who are opening their own firms, and the entire mindset of Indian people has changed from saying I want a salaried job to I can open companies. There is a massive change that has come along, and I think we have to encourage such kids. We have to invest. What you mentioned is really heartening to see that you are creating an ecosystem, and same I think all of us are trying in our own ways through our companies, but there needs to be more interaction between the guys who are trying to come up with something and who have already done it, to make sure that we are coaching and guiding them adequately so that they take the right decisions and are able to move forward more adequately. So I think those are some of the things that I would say that we should really look at.
Yeah.
Just on Tarang's point, and since the ecosystem is sitting here, Ajay, on Infocept and others, very valid point. I must say that Hyderabad, Telangana and other states have done better job in selling. We were talking about how to sell Nagpur to customers in their place. Ajay, you and me spoke about taking Nagpurians to Singapore. So I'm making a commitment again this year, whatever it takes, to sell Nagpur to Singapore. More than happy, given my all connections from education and government, more than happy to sell Nagpur. Let's take a delegation, even if it is a small 20-member delegation, let's take to Singapore and sell Nagpur. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And at the end, without saying much. I'm really thankful to each one of you for taking out time. Some of you flying all the way from Bangalore, Hyderabad and corners of the world. So special thanks from Association of Industrial Development as well as Advantage Vidarbha, and definitely from last session as well as this session there is a lot of takeaways there are a lot of action items, and I'm very sure that the entire team of Advantage Vidarbha will work on those action points, and before the third edition of the Advantage Vidarbha comes in, we will have a lot of things to inaugurate, to celebrate. And at the end, I just want to end this conversation by saying one line. ए बात समा क्या तुमने सुना, ए बात समा क्या तुमने सुना, मेहमान जो आने वाले हैं, मेहमान बोले तो जीसीसी न्यू कंपनीज जो आने वाले हैं, तुम फूल ना बिछाना राहों में क्योंकि एआईडी रेड कारपेट बिछाने वाले हैं. With that, I request Vinod Tambi sir, executive member of Association for Industrial Development, to hand over a token of collaboration to each one of you. Please step ahead. I request Ajay Kapoor to join me on the stage as well. Yeah, I request everyone to step ahead, and I request Shailesh, Amit Kale, Kishorji Malviya to come up. We will have a group photo.